according to ESPN and reports. Now, with Ryan Fitzpatrick out in what's a critical game for Miami, the responsibility is now going to fall on Tua Tagovailoa's shoulders. And while Fitzpatrick may have better numbers in his 7 starts this season, Tua has gone 6-2 in his starts this season. Of course, they've had that starter reliever thing going. And so, Diana, what more can you tell us about the Dolphins situation?
Well, the good news is Miami was always going to start Tua in this game against Buffalo. So in terms of just the reps and how the meeting room has been going, he's been the starter. So that's the good news. The bad news is Ryan Fitzpatrick has COVID-19, right? We got to be concerned for his health, but also the fact that we've seen him come in here and light a spark under this offense. He's really been the safety valve for this Miami team. When Tua gets a little too overwhelmed or isn't taking care of the ball well, they've been able to rely on Fitzmagic. We saw him against the Raiders. So the fact that they don't have this backup plan has to be a little unnerving. And what also has to be a little unnerving, too, is as of now, the good news is that Tua hasn't tested positive for COVID-19. But you know that the league is going to take a close look at those close contacts to make sure that they are good. And you have to figure that Miami is probably running a very tight ship down there, and they were hopefully very smart with that social distancing between Ryan and Tua. As of now, all good news, and he is expected to start. But, of course, bad news that the veteran quarterback won't be out there.
Wow, could you imagine if that was an issue? Now, Rob, what I find interesting, and I just want to let people know, this news came in late last night, and so what we do is we call you guys, and then sometimes we're telling you this stuff. So, Rob, when the producers called you and told you about this, what was your initial reaction?
Well, I said the Dolphins are screwed because Tua at this point, I like Tua. I think that he is a young talent, but he's a rookie. And I can remember back when we would play a rookie, you game plan against a rookie, he's going to make rookie mistakes. And you watch the Dolphins this season when they replaced Tua after they were blowing out the Jets and they put him in the football game just to kind of get a few reps under his belt. They decided that he's going to be the starter moving forward. And every time that they had a hiccup and their offense wasn't moving the football, where did they go? They went right to Fitzpatrick and they put him in the game. And what did he do? He threw the ball down the field. He moved the ball down the field. He gave the offense a spark. So at this point right now, they need to win this football game so they can have the best chance of making the playoffs. And I think Tua, when the game's on the line, he might start to overthink things a little bit because he is a rookie and he's still learning the game. So you're the Bills. You could potentially take advantage of that. Maybe he throws an interception. But with Fitzpatrick, if you throw him in the football game at the end and you need a touchdown pass, we've seen it. He's done it before. He can get it. He's just going to let it go. He's not going to overthink anything. He's just going to let it rip. So I think at this point, without having that crutch, they might be in trouble. They might be screwed in this football game. That's how I think right now.
Yeah, you know, with Fitz, we know it can be Fitzmagic or Fitztragic, but without that downfield threat, it can change everything. Bart, I have to ask you this question. Do you trust Tua to get the win?
No, but I do trust that defense, and I trust the running game. I trust maybe the game plan. It all decides on how the Bills want to play it. Do the Bills, want to rest the players? Do they really care about winning this football game, or do they want to stay healthy? Are they more concerned with being healthy? When you think about Tua and his inability or his unwillingness to push the ball down the field, in the last 2 games, his longest pass has been 15 yards. So if I'm a defender, I'm sitting on everything and I'm jumping everything short. Tua's going to have to come in this game and throw some deep just to loosen the defense up. If I'm the Buffalo Bills, I'm deciding, do I want to play this team in the playoffs? Because if I think I got an easy handle on them, I may go ahead and give them a lollipop and let them go ahead and win and say, you know what, I'll see you guys in the playoffs when I know we're going to destroy you. I remember in 2009, the Cincinnati Bengals did that to us. And then they let us in, rested their players, and then we went to Cincinnati. We took care of business. So it depends on how Buffalo Bills view the Miami Dolphins, but Tua, definitely isn't good enough to get it done. Not against that team if they decide to come and play.
Okay, so that's interesting. Diana, you've got information on that, right?
Well, right now, head coach Sean McDermott, he does a really good job of keeping things really quiet. You don't get a lot of leaks out of Buffalo. But he did show his hand a little bit in an interview yesterday with a local radio station in Buffalo, saying we're going to do what's best for our players. And Bart kind of alluded to what would be best for this Buffalo Bills team right now with the playoffs. That's going to be resting them, right? So resting a lot of their key players. So really for Miami right now, while they have their fingers crossed that Tua doesn't have COVID-19 or at least wasn't in close contact, their other hand is, or their fingers on their other hand are probably crossed as well, that those starters in Buffalo aren't going to be out there because we know how good that defense has been over the last few weeks. So we'll know more soon, but the fact that coach sort of showed his cards just a bit there tells you that Buffalo's at least considering not playing their superstars.
Wow. And when you think about Tua possibly being questioned and all of this and what's going on with the Browns, that's 2020 in a nutshell. Guys, we're in 2021. Hopefully it's going to be different this year. But Diana, let's run the hurry up. I want to get some NFL news going, some news and notes. Diana, what's the latest on Washington's Terry McLaurin?
All right, so really good news for Washington's offense here. Alex Smith was out on the field yesterday taking first team reps. I'm actually getting a text right now from somebody in Washington just saying it's trending in that direction. It's still too early, though, for us to make the call on whether Alex Smith will be the starter. So we know that he's still dealing with that calf injury, and you know they are not going to want to put him out there unless he's 100%. Meantime, Keenan Allen. So we know that he's been dealing with an ankle injury. Well, he also popped up on the COVID-19 list, which is so unfortunate because he has had a spectacular season with his rookie quarterback. He's led that offense, but he will be out this Sunday dealing not only just with that ankle injury, but because he is on that COVID-19 list as of now. And then meantime, you have Kyler Murray. So Ryan, earlier in the week, we were talking all about how Cliff Kingsbury was very optimistic, which seemed crazy because we saw that leg injury that Kyler had against the 49ers late in the game. Well, Kyler just came right out in his press conference and was like, yep, I'm playing. So even though we had hopes, some of us had hopes that perhaps that, you know, we would see that backup quarterback who's got a lot of buzz in the league because he's got some good legs when he played in Canada. But in the end, they're going to get their starter. And we know this offense is successful when Kyler Murray is there. It is built around him. So really good news for Arizona, the quarterback, telling everybody he's going to be playing on Sunday.
All right, so good news for the Cardinals, also potentially good news for the Washington football team. Diana, thank you so much. Chance of reaching the divisional round and just a 3% chance of getting into the AFC Championship. Less than a 1% chance of getting to the big game. So tough situation for Cleveland. Diana, Bart Scott bringing you in. And Diana, what's the latest on that COVID situation going on in Cleveland?
Yeah, well, Cleveland's going to be without their star corner, Denzel Ward, who tested positive for COVID-19. They're going to have 3 players in total as of right now who will not be able to suit up against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, Ryan, this is really important. Dr. Still says that he does not believe that there is an outbreak in Cleveland, which is a really good sign because if you think about it, going back to last Saturday when that whole receiver group tested positive, or at least were in close contact with people that were positive for COVID-19, it became a problem. So the fact that it hasn't been considered or called an outbreak is a really good sign. The facility was closed yesterday. They're going to try to reopen it today. We're going to know some more information later today once Cleveland gets in their building and makes those decisions. Remember, this morning between 5 and 5:45, that's usually when the players and the coaches are showing up to those trailers to get tested for COVID-19. So hopefully for the Browns' sake, who are trying to make the playoffs for the first time in 17 years, no other players will test positive for COVID-19. We'll know more later though, right?
Okay, so maybe some good news there. Rob Ninkovich joining us now. Bart, though, I want to start with you. Are the Browns in big trouble heading into Sunday, given this COVID situation?
I mean, they are in huge trouble. I mean, could you imagine losing to the Jets and then losing to Big Brother not to be able to get in the playoffs? This is going to fall squarely on the shoulders of Baker Mayfield and his ability to really affect the game with his arm, not his legs. Last week, you think about how Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt was shut down, and it was put in Baker Mayfield's hands. And listen, this is going to be huge for him in terms of him getting his 5th-year option picked up. Baker's going to have to show up, and he's going to have to show that he's a franchise quarterback. If not, there's going to be questions in Cleveland. And how is this? You let a man come off the toilet the week before and beat you, and then you come down and you lose to the Jets, and then you lose to Big Brother. The dog pound must feel like they're cursed.
Wow. You mentioned that there might be an issue with the 5th-year option being picked up. I'm going to come back to that a little later in the show. But, Rob, I have to think, when we talked about this overnight, there was this idea of psychologically what this might do to the Browns. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think at this point right now, they're mentally kind of in the tank. It's going to be really hard after you lose to the Jets. When you had control of your destiny, you could have gone out there, just win. That's all you got to do. You just got to win, and you have to run the football. You don't put it in Baker's hands. We've seen him fumble these balls away more than one time. So when I think about the Browns, they went from having their own path to where they can control their destiny right now, they lose to the Jets, going to play a Steelers team, which that rivalry there, I don't care who's the starting quarterback. I don't care. It's going to be when the Browns walk into the stadium and it's the Steelers, those two teams do not like each other. So I don't care if the Steelers